All righty, welcome. I am Heather Pierce Campbell, the legal website warrior. I'm an attorney and legal coach based here in Seattle, Washington, serving online information entrepreneurs throughout the US and the world. Welcome to another episode of Guts, Grit, and Great Business. I am so excited to have Susanne Biro with us today. Welcome, Susanne.
Heather, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's so good to see you. We were just talking about how long it's been since we last connected. And tell you what, between COVID and parenting, I feel like the past years just mushed together. And sometimes I can't tell, like, oh, has it been 2 months or 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's been over 2 years, but I we first met back in 2016.
Yes,
So
it's
it's
been a
been a number
while
of
now.
years. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know, amazing. Well, it's been so fun. I know that, we've worked together and then I've overlapped with a bunch of your content online. I see your stuff on LinkedIn. So it's been just really fun to, watch things evolve and see your messaging and be in touch all this time. And I'm super excited that you are joining me on the podcast. Now, this podcast, we are now over 4 years old. I launched
Wow.
right at the start of COVID. And we're, I think, 226 episodes. Okay, really quick, I'm hearing some interference. Are you hearing that on your side?
I'm hearing nothing.
You're not hearing anything. Okay, let's see. Just gonna make sure everything's connected. I'm just double checking my connections. It just sounds like fuzz in the line, like static. Um, if you have a phone close to like a
Yeah.
podcast mic or anything, I'm just gonna recommend that we get that away. Something helped. It's gone now.
Okay. Okay. I moved
Um,
my phone away. Maybe that's why.
okay, could have
Okay.
caused a little interference. No worries. So yeah, it's been even a hot minute since I launched this podcast, the start of COVID. And we are now over almost 4.5 years old and over, I think, 226 published episodes with a whole slew on the back end that are yet to be published. So it's been quite a journey and so much fun. We've steadily climbed the ranks to the top 2.5% in the
Wow.
world. Yeah, and I
Congratulations. That's incredible.
thank you. It's been really fun. When I launched it and created it, I wanted it to be something that remained doable and also like a joy for me to show up to because I
Yeah.
love connecting with people and bringing in experts and having conversations about business. And so for the most part, it's been that. And here we are going strong now over 4 years later. So I'm super happy that you're here. I know that you have loads of experience that is super relevant to our audience, right? You're speaking to a bunch of entrepreneurs, small business owners, people who are really service-oriented, mission-driven folks. And, they're probably not building the next Google of the world. That's not my clientele, but these are
Yeah.
folks who need to build really thriving small businesses in order to fulfill their personal mission, right? Deliver their best work to the world. So that's your audience. And I know.
Well, those are definitely my people. That excites me to no end because I think it's getting harder and harder to know who's for real, what's for real. And I love that your audience is purpose driven, aiming to serve in their pocket and their niche, just with great integrity. I think it's what the world needs.
Totally. I agree. You have to forgive me. We're also fighting a cold in this house. Let me go get a cough drop real quick.
Please, please.
I was muted. Sorry about that. So
Not at
grateful
all.
for podcast editors. Oh,
Yeah, is this still a good time? Like I'm super, you good? Because I
uh-huh.
feel like okay, okay.
No, I know. The problem with fall and little kids is it's cold after cold. Like this is just how
Yeah,
it's gonna go for a time. You know what I
it's all
mean? And so
great.
it's like trying to reschedule is like, oh, well, probably have another cold when we
Yes, yes. It's such an imperfect world, and I love that COVID seemed to make that okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think it was one of the massive silver linings of that period, and especially for people who are parents.
yeah.
Do you remember that video clip that went viral
Yes.
before COVID? That guy on the news, and he's like, the mom's in the background trying to pull that little kid out of the scene. And
Yeah.
suddenly overnight, that became everybody's life, right?
Yes. And our finally our collective humanity is okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
and I think also the scheduling challenges that people faced. I know during that time, if somebody didn't screw up my schedule or I didn't screw up somebody else's schedule on any given day, it was like, wait, the planet must be, off its
Yeah.
axis. And people learned, I think, to really give so much grace to one another
Yeah.
because everybody was going through some version of that same reality.
And I think we got really efficient. I mean, I was talking to a colleague the other day, and I used to fly, like I had a trip where I flew to New York, Boston, went to Philadelphia to meet clients in person because they were adamant that they had to
Yeah.
see me.
Yes.
And I mean, it was a whole week long trip. And now I will do that all in the course of a day without leaving because it's just not needed. And now I'm
Well,
getting really efficient with no, you don't need to see me. What you need to do is take these ideas and actually live them.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. And you think about the impact to our budgets, to the planet, to even the timeline of getting the work done.
yeah.
It's, I think there's a lot that we learned in that period that serve all of us in amazing ways if we really examine them. And I know there's a certain percentage of people who really want to get back to that pre-COVID reality, right? And I'm
Yeah.
one of those folks that I love being in person with people. And as a mom with two still young kids and lots of demands on my life, it's also just impractical to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I agree.
yeah. Now we just
Um,
have more choice than ever before. If you
yeah,
love in person, there's something for you. If you don't, or it's just not how you want to work or what your successful life looks like, fantastic. You can do all these other things with all these other tools. I think it's the greatest time to be alive.
well, and I love that perspective of just more choice than ever, right? It's so true, and it's a really important reframe, I think. Okay, so people have already heard from you a little bit. I'm going to cut very little of this out, but let's go ahead and get Susanne introduced for those of you that don't know Susanne Biro. Susanne is a coach to C-suite and executive level leaders. She is also a senior facilitator, executive development program designer, author, Forbes and CEO magazine contributing writer, and a TEDx and keynote speaker. For over 2 decades, Susanne has worked internationally with senior level leaders in some of the world's best companies. Whether coaching one-on-one or authoring, designing, and delivering leadership programs, her passion is the same: to help leaders reach their next level. She is a founder of Inner Life Leadership, an app for business professionals who want to reach an unprecedented level of personal understanding and corresponding leadership and life success. She is also the author of the I Want You to Win coaching skills for creative leadership, co-author of Together Executive Team Development, and the book Unleashed exclamation mark Leader as a Coach, adopted by organizations like General Electric, American Express, St. Jude Medical, Celgene, sorry, how do you say that one?
Celgene.
Celgene, Mayo Clinic, Salesforce.com, and numerous others. You can learn more at SuzanneBiro.com, and we will share, obviously, all of your links in the show notes. So stay tuned, and we'll reference those show notes a little later in the conversation. But Susanne, it's so great to have you here. I know you said something right at the beginning that was like, in a single line, you're all about leadership development, which is really personal growth and personal development. What
Sure.
what got you into this field? Like, where did this thread start in your life that landed you here?
Oh gosh, great question. How far should I go back? I'll go back really far. When I was young, in elementary school, I was always that kid in the corner watching the extroverted ones in the center.
Mm,
And what I would notice is and I didn't have the language for it at the time, but sort of team dynamics, what was happening.
mm,
And I would always see, someone sort of jokingly say something to someone else, but it actually hurt that person. And so I'd
mhm,
want to go in and sort of rescue and make sure that person felt okay. So I was always going, trying to mitigate and trying to bring people together. And really, the my passion is I'd like to help people stop hurting so much. Everywhere I go,
mm,
I feel like people are hurting. They want to be someone they don't feel that they are. They want things to be different in their life. They want to be further ahead. I think all of us want to be further ahead. And we can fill that in with a lot of different details, but the essence of it is the same. As very few of us are content with who we are and where we are right now. But the problem is we spend our lives there. Never enough,
mm,
never okay, never good enough, never enough in some fashion. And so the essence of what I do is, work with senior level leaders, help them to understand and know themselves. And as we
mm,
understand and know ourselves, we understand and know everyone else. And if we understand people, we understand business.
mm. So I mean, understanding yourself, does all of this start with improved self-awareness? Like when you're working with your clients, how do you get started on helping somebody better know themselves?
Yeah, self-awareness is exactly. And what does that actually mean? It
Mm-hmm.
means if we can bring awareness to what we think and feel more often, like something happens.
Mm-hmm.
What do I say to myself about that something? I usually say something about myself and or what it means for me. What do I then feel? What do those thoughts and feelings then have me do? And what's the impact of how
Mm-hmm.
I behave in those decisions? And so just bringing awareness to that. Like someone copies my boss on an email. What do I think? I'm mad that person threw me under the bus. What do I feel? Resentful. What do I now
Mm-hmm.
want to do? Somehow lash back out at the person who did that. What's going to be the impact of that behavior? Probably not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So just bringing awareness to what plays out inside of us, so that we can be at choice. So
Yeah.
it's self-awareness, then self-management, and hopefully some level of getting better at mastering ourselves. And then we really see it in other people too. It's like if I want to understand broccoli, all I need to do is look at one floret and I understand all of broccoli. So if we want to understand people, all I
Mm-hmm.
need to do is understand myself. I'm a perfect human specimen, as mortal as they come and flawed. And then I understand, what's happening for other people. When I'm a jerk to other people, why am I a jerk? Usually my life isn't going well. I'm not feeling well in some capacity, and I'm not usually very effective. So when other people are a jerk to me, that's probably what's playing out with them too. Similarly, when am I highly effective? What am I thinking and believing about myself? And then if I have a team, knowing that, how do I make sure my team feels that way about themselves? Not about me, but about themselves. So self-awareness. What am I
Mm-hmm.
thinking? What am I feeling? And just bringing more awareness to that. I have a tool called the self-inquiry tool, which sort of visually lays this out. I post it on social media. It's on my blog. And listeners can go to that. There's a full
Totally.
post called Between Stimulus and Response, Where Are You? And you'll see the,
Oh,
the self-inquiry tool. And just even if it's once or twice a day, when something happens, just take out a piece of paper. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? How do those thoughts and feelings how are they going to have me behave? And what will be the impact of that behavior? And just bringing awareness to it. What's the
mm-hmm.
usual way that I think, feel, interpret things, and then behave. That's first step.
Mhm. Well, the thing that I love about that model and the way that you've just described it, it actually takes me back to my early training in law school around alternative dispute resolution. And there's a book, Difficult Conversations.
Oh,
They have lots of concepts in there, but there's like a ladder of inference but it's getting into some of what you're talking about here, which is what, because there's an important step that a lot of people don't think about, which is what are you thinking about a situation that then determines your feelings. I think a lot of people just think like, well, I feel what I feel. You know what I mean? And they don't think about actually being able to influence or take control of what they
yeah.
feel by slowing down to examine what are they concluding about a scenario, right? Which is often what we're doing when that leads to a feeling is we've drawn some conclusion of a scenario or an event that happened. And often we're just looking at it through a limited lens of what information is important to us, and it's not the whole picture.
Well, and that book is the one that also goes down to the root of identity, right?
That's right.
It's
What
what
does
we
it
want to
mean
do.
about me?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yes.
what we want to do is bring awareness to, things happen. What do I think and feel? But then start to see our own patterns of behavior. We can see them best in
Mhm.
others, right? We
Yeah.
sort of say that person has a chip on their shoulder. They're always thinking they get screwed in life, for example. And what we can watch them do, because it's always easy to see in someone else, is wow, that person keeps shooting themselves in the foot because they bring the past into every present moment, thereby recreating it. We are also doing that. We just can't
Mm,
see it. And so what we want to do is start to pay attention to what we think and feel, and then start to go, what's my own pattern of behavior? Like when things
mm,
occur, what's the underlying narrative that I tell myself often? And underneath that will be, who do I think I am? Because
yes.
if we really want to change our behavior and get to the next level, we actually have to become someone different. We have to think
Yes.
differently. We have to feel differently. We make different decisions, different actions. And underneath all that is I think of myself differently. I become another person. So identity is the
Mm,
place of all change for ourselves or for others. So if I want to become more, I actually need to identify as that kind of person now. And
yeah.
similarly, if I want to advance my team, how must my team think about themselves? And I will
Mm,
hand them an identity. We are this together. We're not just, bricklayers. We're building a
mm,
cathedral together
that's
type of
right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great book.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you have a ton of insights in your work with people, with your clients, where folks get stuck in this equation. Where do you find that people often have the most difficult time in breaking down kind of this process or this ladder?
It's a good question. I think the answer seems too simple for most of us to grab onto because it really is as simple as when what you can do is when you're feeling really great, take out a piece of paper and write down 10 thoughts you've been thinking. And then you will know why you've been feeling great. When you feel
Mm,
bad in some capacity, like you missed the mark, you failed, you let someone down, you're disappointed in yourself, or you're uninspired or unmotivated, take out a piece of paper and write down, what have I just been thinking? And you will see
mm,
if we hand those collection of thoughts to any human being, they would feel very similar and they would likely take very similar kinds of actions. And
mm.
so the answer to it is in order to perform, I believe we have got to feel good.
Yeah.
We have got to feel excited, inspired, motivated, capable, like it's possible for us. We don't do things that we don't think are possible. So
Mm.
if we back it up and make it really, really simple, and I deliver a keynote on this, and it's also a blog post listeners can go to.
Right.
But
And just FYI, listeners, we will share these specific resources that she's referenced. I'll make sure that I reach out and get these links from you, Suzanne.
yeah, and so what the keynote that I have delivered over the last, God, maybe 4 or 5 years to literally
Mm,
thousands of people worldwide, the main idea is simply this. The most important thing that you will ever do is to learn to think thoughts that make you feel good. Because when you feel good,
mm,
you are good for other people. And when you are good for other people, all kinds of things line up. You're present, available,
Mm,
encouraging, trustworthy, inspiring, and things will then seemingly come in your lap. So if there's one, and it really is as simple as that, but it's very, very hard work. The
right.
human mind will go towards the negative, and then there are very disciplines that we are trained in, engineering, law, business accounting, for example. We're trained to look for what's missing, what's wrong,
Mm,
inconsistencies. And so to develop a mind, a quality of mind that focus on what am I doing well? Who am I? What's my value that I bring? How can I feel great today? How can I make others feel great? It's just a different muscle, one that most of us
mm.
haven't flexed. And that it sounds kind of phony and Pollyanna, but it really isn't.
Oh,
It's one of the most
interesting.
important things that we can do. And if all we do is rehearse that quality of mind that finally says, look, I like who I am. I know I'm
Mm,
really great at one or two key things I do well, and I'm really bad at just about everything else. But I love my intention. I love how hard I work. I love that I keep trying to serve other people. Who can I
mm-hmm.
help today? How can I connect with other people today? How can I advance something important for the world?
Mm. I love the
Yeah.
examples you're sharing because they feel so concrete and real. I think sometimes the challenge that people have with, we'll just call it positive thinking, is they think of it as like, oh, like affirmations or something that doesn't feel true yet that they have to say to themselves. And I think that can be a challenge for folks if they don't feel like that's an authentic, real thought, right?
Yes, yes, and it's part of what's really useful is if a thought like that I've just described feels sort of not true or phony for you, isn't that interesting? That such a simple, kind thought about yourself doesn't feel natural. That makes me a bit
Mm,
sad because most human beings are out there trying to do something good. And most of us feel bad, and most leaders that I've worked with feel like failures. They
mm,
feel like they just can't get ahead. They're not performing in the way that they want. They want to be so much better for the world. And what a beautiful aspect of our collective humanity. We all want to serve so well that we're kind of beating ourselves up internally and beating the mule, so to speak. Like you're not good enough,
mm,
but but we will never beat ourselves up well enough to serve other people well. We
mm.
have got to be, the turn the inner critic to an
Yeah.
inner champion.
Mm.
That's the work that has to occur. And when we do that, everything will change.
Can you dig into the statement you made about most leaders feel like failures? Does this go beyond imposter syndrome? Is this like I am broken feeling where there's something wrong with me? Or what is it that's at the root of that?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I work with very, very successful men and women. I think maybe not feel like failures, but feel like they're failing and or they can't get to all the things they want to get to,
Just not
right?
enough, just not quite
Just a
enough.
little bit more,
Yes.
a little, I should have handled that conversation better. Why didn't I handle that conversation? Should I be doing more? God, did I
Mm,
handle that well? Should I have used that language? I shouldn't be taking this time off right now. A better person or parent or something. Oh, I'm really letting myself go. You know, the human mind can think, I don't know, I think it's been said Dr. Joe spends like 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
yeah.
I have no idea how they measure that or if that's true, but the human mind can think every conceivable thought. I think we need to decide which thoughts are useful to serve me
Mm,
so that I can serve other people, whether that's me as a parent in this chapter of my life. Because if I look after me and I feel good about who I am and what I'm doing, I'll be really great for my children.
mm,
Similarly, if I'm a CEO running a multi-billion
mm,
dollar organization, I need to do the exact same thing. I need to
mhm.
feel right because there's just a million and one things that you can and should do, especially now. Things are changing faster than ever before. The disruption that's coming with AI and technology, I mean, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
And all of us are drowning. And I'm hearing with clients that, how do we keep up? What does this mean? Almost every person I work with now is feeling more vulnerable than they ever have before. But that never used to be the case. I've been doing this work for 23 years. Executives used to feel pretty confident in what their future looked like. I think that now it's
Hmm.
kind of all bets are off. Things are changing so fast, and jobs are just disappearing, and industry is starting to collapse because AI can replace those in a heartbeat. So what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a big, I mean, it's a massive conversation, right? There's the piece that we're talking about what can I do right now to be more effective in this moment or the next moment, right? But what you've just said is like such a bigger, more existential type of question around how do people improve their performance and obtain some of their goals, and also settle this massive anxiety around like where are we all headed? What does the long-term picture look like?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't know that
yeah.
anybody has the answer to that.
For sure. Well, anyone that tells you what they know, the future looks like in 2 to 5 years, I think that they can't. They can't. None of us
Yeah.
know what this looks like. But having said that, if we can't control it, there's no use in spending too much time over there. I think we have so much more power than we give ourselves credit for. So I like to,
Hmm.
let's not worry so much about the endless fear that can come at us. And let's look
Yeah.
at what you can control is who you're being
Yeah.
while you're busy doing the things that you do.
Well,
And
and
I
I was
don't,
gonna say, yeah, I bet you see some real consistencies and trends in your clients who are able to make this change and change their performance. What is it that you notice that they are able to do really well, right? When they're doing the right work and looking at the right things and they have the right information, I'd love to see like what do you see for those that are really able to make consistent change?
it's a great question. Think, I don't know whether this will stay because we don't know what the future holds, but
Yeah.
I think it still exists that with all our technological advancement, few things matter more than the impact we have upon others.
Yeah. Yes.
So much still gets done through human relationship. And with advances in AI and deep fakes and all kinds of content, it is harder and harder to know who's for real, what's for real, and who to trust. So we
Mm,
might revert back. One sort of hypothesis prediction I have is we might revert back to earlier times where, what mattered most was your reputation.
yeah.
Who are you? You and I come together. We've known each other for now many years. We also have many sort of colleagues and friends in common. So there's so much trust in
Mm,
who you are and how you do things and how you will deliver things, and hopefully vice versa. That really can't occur if this is just all machine technology.
yeah.
So I think that the really great news is maybe not sure, but character, honesty, and integrity will be our greatest competitive advantage, and really acting such that we serve other people and seek to find a win-win-win for everyone we
Hmm.
work with. How do we
Mm,
help everyone around us become more successful and actually care about the human beings
yeah.
that we work with and through? I don't think that ever gets old.
No, and it makes me so happy to hear you say this because I've wondered myself, like, do we end up seeing some kind of backlash away from technology in some regard? You know what I mean? In the recognition that there really is nothing that replaces that human connection, that contact, and also, like you say, that trust, that knowing another person and what that does in a business relationship, even. And the number of times that I've recently had conversations with people across all kinds of industries and areas of expertise where the conversation that has come up is ethics in
Mm,
business, right? It
yeah.
makes my heart so happy.
Yes, yes, mine too, really, because I mean, part of why I became a solopreneur was simply that I want to do business how I want to do it. I
Yes.
want to care deeply about the men and women that I work with and care about their success, and that's all I want to do. And I want to see
Mhm.
if love wins. I want to
Mhm.
prove to myself. Because when I started, people said, "You're so naive. What makes you think you can run a business?" And I remember thinking, well, I think this can work. I think caring about people matters. And so far, what I've seen is yes, it does. When you care
Absolutely.
greatly about the success of others, it pays off, but only always.
Mm. Somebody said it well in a conversation one time, and it came up as the word like enthusiasm, right? And I think also that caring shows up as enthusiasm for our clients, for our work, etc. But there's no replacement for it,
Yeah,
right? If you're sitting down and you're interviewing, multiple people, let's say for even a professional service or whatever. I remember helping my sister years ago actually get a divorce lawyer involved in her life because she was going through some traumatic things, and I had to walk with her through the process of setting up the interviews and helping her get to know a bit about each of the attorneys. And when you find that person that you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
they see my issue in the way that I believe somebody needs to see it. They care about it. I can tell through the way they communicate that they care about it and that
yeah.
they take really good care of people. It shows. And I just don't think there's a replacement for that.
Yeah, and that's what didn't Malcolm Gladwell capture this and was it Tipping Point or Blink, where people don't sue doctors they like.
Oh,
The
right.
doctors that said, "I'm sorry, we did everything we
Totally.
could and we made a mistake." What was the real difference is to the extent that that person actually cared. So maybe we'll be. I personally believe that our collective humanity and
Mhm.
what you started this conversation with is giving grace to each other
Mhm.
and knowing that we can trust other people, not only their competence, their reliability, but most especially their intention.
Yeah.
Is their
Yeah.
intention pure? Do they want my success? And when they do, I think we allow for all kinds of things and it creates relationships that,
Mm.
can move mountains. And
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place to spend your life. Because
Oh
then
my
you got
gosh.
friends all over the world that would,
Mm.
what do you need? How can I help you? Because I think every single person wants to get to the place where they can help other people.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so rewarding. And like those days, I know that, when I get done with days where I've especially had client facing time and I get off calls where I'm like, I get to spend time with the most wonderful people
Yeah.
doing interesting things. Like I can't imagine working any other way, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
what's so cool about you is, I wanted to be a lawyer.
oh, you
And
did? I don't think
yeah,
I ever
yeah.
knew that.
Yeah, and I was going to go down the whole path, and I spoke to a bunch of women lawyers at the time, and they weren't fond of the profession, and so I just went, well, I can't do that. But I look at your career and what you've done, and I thought, maybe if I had gone that route, I might have circled back around to deliver it in the way that you do, because you come at it with such love, care, and then making sure everyone's got everything underneath their business, so so that I can go and do my work. You make
Mhm.
sure that I'm not naive in doing that, but I have actual like legal protections and you've helped me become immensely sophisticated, but keep my
Mm,
heart in business. So
yes.
I really commend you. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Well, I so appreciate that feedback. I tell people that even though I live in the world of legal, what I feel like I really deliver is especially for my small business clients, right, is helping them better lead their business. It really for me is still about leadership, right? And just like what you said about being more strategic, because every experience you have involving legal in some scenario, whether it's negotiating a contract, putting, some new arrangement in place with an independent contractor, whatever, like you learn these gems along the way that inform you in your next decision making experience as a business owner, right? And that's
Yeah.
really my goal, is to help people achieve not only the level of confidence to make good decisions, but also the peace of mind that comes with knowing like I'm walking the path in the right way and I'm building in the right supports and I'm taking care of not only my business, but my clients in the way that I want to, right? That's what I want for every small
Yes.
business.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what you do.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that. Well,
yeah,
and I,
yeah.
reflecting on your path, because you said it's the reason why you went into business for yourself.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about some of the gems that you have picked up in your own business building journey that really stand out to you as, either cornerstone moments or life lessons that you could share with folks that are listening today that are also on their own. And we have many, by the way, consultants, coaches, people in the online space who are very service oriented, right? That are walking similar paths.
Yeah, well, to the audience, I'm sure you are all well aware that nothing will have you come up against yourself, all your worst fears and insecurities, as building your own business will. And there's no way out but through. And so I think we're all, if you're here and you're listening, you may be further ahead than me, you may be farther behind, but we're all on our own journey through this vehicle called entrepreneurship. I think to become the person and leader we most intend to be.
Mhm.
And so, but there's no way out but through. And I wish
Yeah.
I've gone into most of my learning kicking and screaming. And then I finally resigned myself to the fact that I would need to become more each time, and I would need to bet the farm on me more than I have.
Mm,
So probably my greatest learning was really to what extent I'm going to believe in myself and trust
mm,
my own instincts, my own way of wanting to serve and do business, and to know that I have value. And so
mm,
every time over the last, sort of 10 years or so, it's really been every time someone asked something of me, I would say yes. And then I'd be like, how the hell am I going to pull that off? And then I'd say, why the hell do I sign up for things like this? And then I figure it out. And then when they call me on stage or I fly to deliver the work, I'm usually deathly afraid. Like
mm.
they will call my name, and my first thought is, um, can you really do this? And my next thought is, I don't know, you're about to find out what you're made of.
Mm,
And all I know to do is to outwork anyone and
mm,
to do everything I need to
mm.
do so that I can be sure that I can deliver what I said I would. It's a very painful process to me personally, but it's the only way I know how. And every single time, what I have come to know about myself is that I over deliver. And I love that about
Mm,
myself. I blood, sweat, and tear it
mm,
to serve my clients. And now I kind of feel like a cat. You can throw me off any wall, and I have enough faith. Like if you pulled me up on stage and said, "Can you go on stage right now?" That would have scared me to death
mm.
years ago. Now I'd be like, you know what? Sure, I've got something. I'll pull out
Totally.
something that will be useful. And so all these saying yes to all these very scary things
Mm,
make it so my day-to-day job 5 years ago are things that would have scared me to death, and now they're just commonplace. And that sounds like and feels like freedom.
mm.
So it's the payoff of going up against my fear and my insecurity time and time again, every single step. It's like, wow, look at how much I've grown and how much capacity I have to meet with that person or to be in that really big room, and to know that I deserve to be in that room, and I can handle my
Mm,
own in that room, and I can add value to that room. That's priceless. So I
mm.
think, the only way to the other side is through a whole bunch of tears. I mean, I heard this great, it was Richard Branson was doing this panel, and it was a woman, I can't remember her name, but they said, can you define entrepreneurship? And she said, entrepreneurship is sitting at your computer on a Friday night at 11 p.m. crying. And I thought,
Oh.
yeah, that's about right. Yeah. So that's, I think we're all on our own journey. But if we go through and come up against ourselves, it's so worth it.
Mm. Yeah, the process you just described, it's like that continually bumping up against your own limits, right? And saying yes anyways. How do you balance that with this also need to be present to yourself, to balance self-care, especially if you're a mom or a parent, like, because it's a big thing, right? To
Yeah.
sometimes take on more than we even feel we're capable of. And maybe that's just a conceptual thing versus like a time commitment, right? Because as parents, we all have so many demands on our time.
Yeah.
How were there ever moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I made the wrong decision, or I can't do this, or things that really questioned your pursuing that path?
There was, yeah, I probably had every thought and that you just described. I think there are times. I think balance looks different in different chapters.
Yeah.
There are times where I knew I needed to like burn the midnight oil, and that's what I was doing to advance myself. I'm in a different chapter now, and so I'm really careful what I say yes to and what I say no to.
Yes.
But I think in all of that, whether we're sort of burning the midnight oil chapter, we're more like, this is more of a sort of sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor chapter for me. Regardless of where we are, I think if we start to really learn who we are and how we work best, and
Hmm.
start to, again, from self-understanding and self-awareness,
Yeah.
what is needed for me to perform exceptionally well? Like for me, I don't want to do something if it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
So then if I have to do something, it's like, how can this be fun? How could I enjoy doing this? How can I make it fun? Um, so that it's somehow motivating, but I'm really clear as to how do I design my weeks
Yeah.
so that I enjoy my life as I go? Because I don't think too many of us want to sacrifice, endlessly for some future. Like, let's enjoy our lives now.
That's right.
And so I just have a way that I manage my weeks and I prepare for them. There's on my blog, if you go to Behind the Eight Ball, 5 Strategies for Greater Success blog, you'll see sort of how I recommend clients manage and lead their own schedules. And it's certainly how I do mine.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great resource. And I find that even in my own life, I have to continually evaluate like how is that going, right? Because maybe what it looked like for me last year that work doesn't work for me any longer this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So I think that's a constant dialogue and something that's important for all of us to look at from time to time because it's really easy to fall into patterns and just doing things, especially like if you're a block scheduler or you've always done something a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious, do you
Yeah.
know what you are on the Enneagram?
Oh, I don't.
You don't.
I
Okay.
don't. I
I'm
know I
wondering
did
if
it
you've
some time
done.
ago, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just think about your roots of as a kid watching people and understanding the pain that was happening in that moment. If like you're a
Yeah.
really heavy relator, you know what I mean? Like a helper. You might totally
Yeah.
be like a helper personality.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure I am. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that's a two. Anyways, it's just fun because you also get to see through people's work, those motivations really get expressed, right? So it's probably no real surprise to yourself looking backwards, like, oh, here I am in
Yeah.
this capacity of coaching and guiding leaders on how to do this all better.
Yeah.
Um, well, it's so fun. I mean, we've covered a lot, and I'm super excited to share some of these resources that you've mentioned. I know you write prolifically, and I've seen some of the content that you have posted online. And so I highly recommend if you're listening to pop over and we will share links to your website, Suzanne. Also, where do you show up online in socials? I know I see you on LinkedIn. Is that the
Yeah.
primary
Yeah.
place for you?
LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you can find me. You can go to the either Google Play or Apple store
Mhm.
and go to either my name, Suzanne Biro, or Inner Life Leadership. Download the app. It's free to download. There's several free sections. Check that out. Even the
Yeah.
first lesson that's free for you will just be a place that is about you and for you to
Mm.
really think about what it is you want and hopefully some tools there that will serve you.
I love that. We'll make sure to share those links as well. Um, what would you like to leave our listeners with today? Like it could be an action step, it can be a quote. What comes to mind as something that you would like to leave with people who've been here with us?
I would like to invite everyone to, if you don't already, have a morning practice to consider this
Mhm.
one and to do it for like at least a month or two before you evaluate it. And the practice is simply this. Set aside 5 minutes Set a timer on your phone if that's useful for you. And in those 5 minutes, I want you to write down an intention for the day. First of, who do you want to be today as you get busy doing the million and one things required of you, both personally and professionally? So it might be, I want to be encouraging and inspiring, or I want to be present to the people in my life. Then for the remainder of the 5 minutes, I want you to write down as many good, exciting, inspiring thoughts as the day could hold for you if you would only let it. So write, 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 write. Then at least once during the day, I recommend just before lunch, so you have a trigger. Reread what you wrote to ground yourself in it. Do a practice like that. It takes 5 minutes and maybe 5 minutes at lunch to reread it. Do it for at least a month before you judge the impact it will have. It sounds simple, but it can have a profound impact on your life and your work.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I love the fact that it is so simple because I think so many people can talk themselves out of a morning practice if it's significant, if it takes too much time, or, like me as a mom, sometime you've been up all night with a kid who's sick, and suddenly any morning routine of any size goes right out the window.
Yes, yes, and we all can do 5 minutes. I mean, if we
That's
can't do
right.
5 minutes, what the hell are we
There's
doing
a
with our lives?
problem.
Yeah, yeah,
Hopefully, you
we
can
have bigger
sit
problems. Yeah,
down with your coffee and do 5 minutes. Oh, I love
yeah,
that so
yeah.
much. Suzanne, such a joy to have you on here. I can't wait for folks to hear this, and I know it will bring a lot of insights to people who join us. So, really appreciate you. I look forward to being in touch. Maybe at some point there's a part two to this.
Love it. Listen,
Yeah.
thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be on. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, folks, one final reminder. If you've been with us today, pop over to the show notes. They can be found at legalwebsitewarrior.com/podcast. Find Susanne Biro's episode, and we will make sure that you've got all the links to the resources that she mentioned and probably others as well. But so glad that you could join us today, and really excited for you to get to know Susanne. Please do go follow her, join her world. You're going to enjoy her writing and some of the stuff that she puts out, because we all can improve our capacity as leaders of not only our personal lives, but our businesses as well. Thank you so much, Suzanne.